Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Loudguns, and today we're going to be taking a quick look through the changes to scanning in 3.14. So this is just a first impression of the new scanning features, and a full disclaimer as well, so there are still some bugs with it. Overall I think it's really good changes, and I've been quite impressed by it. But there are still some errors to iron out for CIG. This is all recorded in the PTU. It's still on the first wave, so I think we'll have a number of iterations before we get anything approaching a live build. So hopefully some of these minor issues will just get ironed out before that happens. So just before we get into the video, just a quick one from me to say thank you very much to everybody who's sort of liked videos and subscribed to the channel. It's really helped me, and I'm amazed at how quickly it's grown. And if you do feel like finding some people to play with, sort of Star Citizen to me is a game best enjoyed as part of a group, and that's what really keeps it fresh. Then please do say hi on Discord. We've got the link to the server in the video description down below. So with that said, let's take a look at these scans. So to start with, I thought I'd take out the mole and go look for some minables. So you can let out a ping by just hitting tab. You don't have to actually enter the dedicated scanning mode to do this, so it's quite useful to be able to be in normal flight mode and still be able to let off pings. I think this is going to help with things like whole illegal surveillance missions. But you'll see now that you've got these sort of clusters which have replaced the grids. It's actually very similar to how it was before, but it's actually kinder on the eyes, I think. So you can enter the dedicated scanning mode by hitting V, and that brings up the change to your HUD. Some of the features don't seem to quite be working though, so I don't think you can change the angle of the ping with the mouse wheel like you used to. So it's always doing a 360 scan, but I think that's one of the bugs. But once you've found your rock to mine, you can hold down the left mouse button like you used to, and that will give you the details of the rock that you're looking at. So you get the same sort of information just with a better UI. But one of the problems is that those sort of numbers of the percentages inside the rocks seem to be gibberish at the moment. The UI, to my mind, though, is a big improvement on what we had previously. So hopefully, if they just iron out these issues with sort of the percentages of the rocks and the field of view of the scan, then this can be a big improvement on what we had before. One thing you can do as well is scan these bubbles from sort of a longer range, and that gives you some basic information in terms of sort of what the signature, max signatures in that cluster are. So here we've got sort of those 5,000. So I can see in the future this being very useful for determining if it's maybe an asteroid cluster you're coming up to, or a derelict ship that you might want to salvage. Or maybe it's an enemy ship and you can sort of guess what type it is by the type of signature that's kicking out. But that's where CIG have said that, you might use that to trap someone. So if they're scanning looking for a mining ship, you just power down your combat ship enough to make it look like the same sort of signature, so they come in nice and close. One of the big upgrades, though, is that the scanner isn't actually attached to the ship, it's attached to your head. So in scanning mode, you can hold down the free look, and then you can look around, but the scan will stay with your head. So this means if you get a cluster of rocks like we've got here, you can just move your head between them. You don't need to keep maneuvering the ship to point the nose at the thing that you want to scan. So that's going to be quite a big time saver, I think, on sort of big clusters. They were sometimes a bit fiddly in terms of being able to sort of see past one rock and when you try to scan a different one. Just to show the difference in the numbers though, like some of these rocks are saying sort of 4,000% aluminium, but when we actually get into the mining laser and scan with the mining mode, this is showing the correct sort of percentages, and they don't seem to be even bearing that much relation to the percentages shown on the scanner itself. So just jumping in my Vanguard to take a look at some of the other scanning. So I've just found this other player, and if we want to scan him to get a bit of extra information on this mole, It's got this really nice thing where even when you're sort of out of range of the ships, it brings up this sort of holographic representation, so it's quite easy to then quickly visually identify what ship you're looking at while you're waiting for the actual details to appear on the right. And you get a lot more information, so about the actual components of the ship, and about the player who's flying it. I think you can see there you got like legal owner name, their faction. Everybody's just down as UEE at the moment, but I can see that sort of thing becoming really important as the MMO aspects expand, and you've got sort of organizations really mattering. Being able to sort of use this scanner attached to your head in game brings in some interesting sort of use cases for things like head tracking. So I know when I played Elite for a bit, using the VR headset was really cool to be able to sort of look around and acquire target locks, that sort of stuff. So I can see that being useful here. And one thing I discovered completely by accident was you can actually scan stations now, which is pretty cool. So you get a bit of a blurb about the station, a little bit of its backstory, but also quite importantly, you get to see what shops, what stuff it sells, and like in this case, also features a refinery. So if you're unsure about what sort of services a station offers, now you can scan them and you get that information. So that was just a whistle-stop tour, just first impressions of this new system, because I think it's going to be really important, sort of particularly for mining, but also for sort of all sorts of other aspects of the game. And overall, I think it's very well done, very well implemented. It just needs those couple of bugs ironing out, but then it's going to be a really good incremental improvement to the game, I guess. And the sort of thing which it's not big and it's not flashy. You know, it's not like Horizon or a cool new ship that they're bringing in. But it's maybe these small elements which are going to build the game into just a much more enjoyable, immersive playing experience. So thanks for watching all the way to the end. And if you do find this type of content useful, then please let me know, and consider hitting subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll have plenty more stuff coming out for 3.14. Particularly looking forward to taking the chance to maybe just go back and redo some of the older mining guides, just get them a bit more comprehensive and fleshed out with all the stuff that's been added in the last couple of patches. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you out there.